now. Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of Super Desperation Radio. How's everybody doing?
Pretty good.
Yeah?
Yeah.
If you notice, if you're watching us on Twitch, you can look at the top. You'll notice that we're playing Guilty Gear Xrd -sign-.
That's right. We got the advanced copy of the beta that Arxis didn't even know existed.
I don't even think it's in beta stage at this point. It's probably still like alpha.
Pre-alpha.
Not pre-alpha, maybe just alpha at this point.
Dude, I'm doing it for the CPM, man. See, like, if they think we're playing it, then people are going to come in and be like, yo, dog, they got that secret local test going on.
Yeah, because that's what people are searching for on
If
Twitch.
you wanted the CPM, you could have just changed it to Hearthstone or some other crap.
Oh, that's a good idea. Let's
League
do that.
of Legends.
Let's just do that. League of... All right, now, SDR, your new official League of Legends podcast discussing all your League of Legends wants and needs.
I'll just say the only thing I personally need to say on the topic. Fuck you, Mr. Right.
All right, moving on. Jesus.
We've got quite a few topics today, none of which will be fielded by our good buddy Super Effects, who is currently en route to home, I think.
Yeah, he's probably...
And we wish him safe travels, and the sooner he gets out of Arizona, the better.
Yeah.
Oh, Arizona? Jeez. Not that Arizona's a bad place, just probably...
Well, yeah, it is, but he's not probably there anymore. So he's probably en route home, and he'll be back with us shortly. But we got a lot to talk about this week. There's some recaps. Some of them are actually interesting. Some of us were actually attending some of these events, like the Rusty Perry thing, which some of you might have watched on IE Battlegrounds, the best stream by the best streamer in the business, Mondo. It was pretty fun. I didn't get to make it on time because, shit. But I did get to commentate most of it, and Watts didn't enter this week because I think he knew I was coming, so he tried to duck me.
Oh, yeah, that's what happened.
That's exactly what happened. We're going to completely remove that quote from the archive of this video. If I remember correctly, it was Eric Chin taking first place with Mount Sat Kid, a.k.a. Empty Sat Kid, a.k.a. Fusan 909, a.k.a. Boner Malone taking second. Third place was Red Venom, who did not go to Oro this week at all, just was sticking with Ken, which he actually did pretty well. But Oro is definitely the main character.
He did use Oro.
Oh, did he actually break Oro out?
Yeah, when you weren't on commentary, he brought him out.
Wow. I thought he was going to stick with him the whole way.
When your back was turned, man.
Just the second I let my guard down. It's interesting that this still gets a decent turnout, considering that not that many people play the game, and that the people that still play it live in scattered parts throughout SoCal. But we had Mr. Universe, who I hadn't seen in forever, and he was an FFA regular. I don't know where he lives. I can only assume it was somewhere near FFA. Some of the other people that came out, Duralath coming down from... What's that part where they had Aftershark?
Oh,
Like that part in California?
Oh,
Santa
Jeez.
Barbara?
Yeah,
Santa
somewhere in
Barbara?
that area.
No way he lives out there. Doesn't live in
Yeah.
the valley?
And unfortunately, notable Third Strike laureates like Gutex and Maximilian were unable to attend, but that's because they're busy. Anyway, the point that I wanted to make was that the quality of play is starting to slowly get better because the people that were relatively new to the game are practicing. The people that used to play it a lot are kind of being challenged because they've gotten sloppy, and these new people are kind of, making them stay on their toes. I would honestly wish that instead of a tournament, they would do like they did for the Marvel MVC2, because in my heart, the only real Marvel was MVC2. They did the casual stream where they just had people fighting each other on the arcade cabinets that were being streamed. They do this a lot in Japan. You'll see a lot of HO streams where they just stream themselves playing CVS2 or what have you, and there's not a tournament. It's just dudes playing. I honestly think a lot of people would do way better in these streams, like some of the players that we have coming out to Rusty Perry, just because they're not under the sort of pressure that they would be in a tournament setting. Like, personally, I play a little more ass-clenched when I'm in a tournament, because there's certain ideas that run through my head that shouldn't be there. Like, don't DDT, because I should always be DDT.
I say you should never not be DDT.
Yeah.
I know. I don't see what the whole point of playing Alex is if you're not going to DDT.
Exactly. Like, if somewhere in my head there's just this logical stream of thought that says, you know what, if you really want to win, you shouldn't do this high risk, low reward maneuver. It's just not really going to do anything. But on the other side of my brain, that the part that learned how to play Alex correctly, it says like, yo, are they standing? Yo, fucking spin on this dude. I honestly think that it would be really more enjoyable for both the audience and the players if they just had a casual meetup instead of just a constant tournament, because we've seen that events or games that are constantly having tournaments just slowly die out because some people don't get to practice, and when you have a set date to play and the only way you can play is in a tournament setting, you don't really get the best experience like for practice.
You just get 0-2, and then okay, well I guess I'm done. That's all the practice I get
Yep.
tonight. Peace.
Laters. It's like, oh man, we only have one third strike machine at the arcade and the user streaming. I can't even practice while I lost. Well, it's just good tournament, good experience, guys.
Yeah, that's always been a bummer to me.
But if they had the casuals, there would definitely be dudes who would just stick around and get to play and just have the rotation going on.
Oh, but they did have the casuals. You were there.
How do I kick Tony from call?
Can't kick me from my own call.
Yeah, Lolcats actually brings up exactly what I'm talking about. The game versus streams. They do that a lot.
Yeah.
They actually stream it on Twitch, and I believe it is twitch.tv/game_versus.
Yep.
And those are really fun. Like, they actually have a little camera of the players at all time in the top right, and you get to see the people that just wake up really pissed off when they lose at CVS2.
They have I think they have a cameraman too, but like the guy who has control of that camera is super good. Like it almost seems robotic, the transition between that and then those go up towards someone standing behind them, just like getting their reaction. It's hilarious.
Yeah, dude, just the really pissed off face where it's like, hey, that's a guy totally just down fierced you into, K Groove level 3. How do you feel about it? Like, get the fuck out of my face. You got
If we had
outplayed.
stuff like that here, it'd be pretty neat because a lot of the players catch feelings here.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Crushing
Yeah.
feelings. See the problem. See, like, here's the thing though. Like, I feel like that would be great, and I think somebody should do that. But I feel like a lot of like people who want to stream stuff get kind of caught up in the I need to produce some worthwhile content that has a story to it and will make people want to watch versus like people just going at it for fun, because nobody plays fighting games for fun anymore.
Of course not.
Here's the thing, like, the whole having to have a story thing just doesn't sit with me, because look at Seinfeld.
Oh my god.
Holy shit.
Yeah, you know exactly where I'm going with this, Tony. Look at it. It was a show about nothing. Could we just have a stream about nothing and it's just a bunch of people playing fighting games? We don't have like George Costanza watching a tournament going, they're colluding, Jerry! They're colluders! They're gonna collude! I don't even know why they're gonna ruin the integrity of the tournament.
Sounds like Super Desperation Radio minus the
That's what I
gameplay.
know I was gonna say.
But yeah, I mean, I know exactly what you're talking about. Like, I mean, we're normal people. We're not anyone special. Like, not even top players. Everyone's just a normal person at the end of the day. Let's let them
All right.
play video games.
You keep thinking about that about yourself. I mean, I'm not normal.
No, all right. Sorry. Gibby's abnormal. Sorry, guys.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
But I think it's that's something a lot of people get caught up in. So I think maybe there needs to be somebody brave enough to go out there and be like, you know what, I may have this really sick arcade that tournaments are ran at, but maybe people want to see what happens after the tournament as much as they want to see what happens during it, or maybe see some stuff that might be happening during the tournament that isn't tournament.
I don't want to see anything that happens after the tournament because the tournament ends at 3 a.m.
It doesn't
Like,
have to
one of
be
the
one of
issues-
those.
Yeah, one of the issues is people like there are some people who will only watch or attend an event if it is a tournament.
Right.
They're like, oh, it's just casuals. I don't want to watch this. It's silly. I don't get why.
Yeah, exactly. When's the last time that I'm not going to say all top players do this, but when's the last time you really saw a lot of top players really just in the mix for fun and not saying, money match or trash bag match or first to anything. First till you lose the fucking match and get up and give it to somebody else,
At the same time, I feel like there doesn't need to be that much stream going on these days, Also.
But that's going to happen
Like-
regardless. That's like, see, the
Yeah,
thing
it's
about
fine
the-
if it does. It's not going to be a big problem. But people should just go out there and just set up casual dates without having an arcade or someone working there having to plan an event beforehand. Just be like, hey guys, you want to get together on Tuesday and play casuals of whatever game? Just like something. It's like, if the way it feels like is that everybody just lets someone else do all the work, and then there are incredibly hardworking people in the community. But what do they get for it? Pretty much bupkis, like straight up nothing. Like, do they even get thanks or whatever? People just be like, oh yeah, it's so cool. I get to come here and I'm gonna be on stream and play, and I'm cool. I'm one of the in crowd now, so I'm gonna go hang out with all the top people and blah blah and all this other garbage that's going on. It's like, just play the game, please. Like, it really bugs me as someone who lives far away from the Bay Area, not that far, but enough to make it out, and then all arcades are closed, and then there's still some life in SoCal, and there's plenty of players, and nobody goes and plays or anything, it's like...
Because it's just like what Sanchez said, it's like a freaking tournament setting every time, and like if people are going to come out for tournaments, then why should they go out for something that isn't a tournament? And there's merit to both ideas, but I feel like they've been maybe like mind washed into thinking that there isn't anything but the tournament.
Yeah, which is an interesting case, because this is the other thing I was going to recap. That same night that they had Rusty Perry, they had the concept matches that was being streamed on Level Up, and this was organized by Valle. And those weren't anything that was a tournament. It was just players that were the top, or not even if they're not the top, they were up and coming or interesting players, like people that might play like Offbeat or not commonly used characters in either AE or Marvel. Mm-hmm. And they would just have matches between each other. So it's a big change of pace from having a tournament all the time. Like if Friday was just a AE tournament and they happen to have invitational only, it wouldn't be as interesting, at least to me, as what they did on Friday, where they had people like Velociraptor, who plays Goken, which is a relatively underrepresented character, going up against Snake Eyes, and Snake Eyes is one of the best in the nation. Like, how often do you get to see that match? Sometimes they'll get put out in the early stages of a Wednesday night fights, and you don't get to see it.
No, that's true.
So I think if anything, that Friday was an interesting representation of the possibility that with a bit of balance, you could have a lot more interest or interest brought to your game. Like if you just constantly have a tournament and you have players that are good outside of the tournament setting, just getting ass blasted because they don't handle so there's some people that just genuinely do not handle stress well, and for the most part, tournaments are going to be a stressful setting. If you just have something that's a casual, or if you have these sort of like orchestrated matches, exhibitions, as it were, they're going to be a bit more relaxed. And they're probably going to do better, and they get to shine, and people get to maybe understand more about these off-used characters, and it's win-win overall. Like it doesn't have to always be a tournament, and it doesn't always have to be casuals. Like there's room for both. It just happens to be that we live in a world where it seems to be one or the other.
Well, I think it's because, like, when you say there's room for both, they try to run both on the same day. And like Walkman said, if it's after the tournament casuals, probably nobody's watching, People.
It's not even that. It's just that it's so late. Like, it'd be cool to have, like... I know this is pretty difficult, especially with how everything is, but, like, wouldn't it be cool to just a stream for just, like, side things, or just documentation, like, if people really want to see. People just play,
And that's something that Mild Wallace does, at least on the KOF 13 side. He will definitely run casuals after the tournament's over, which is usually pretty quick, so...
Yeah.
But I think that one of the biggest challenges that they face is that, like I said before, everybody's just, trying to hit that max CPM, There's nothing in it for people. I guess they feel like there's nothing in it for them if they're not doing the whole fucking show.
But that's at the same time, like you were saying with Mild Wallace, like, look how many people actually show up, People definitely want some sort of incentive, otherwise they'd show up. I mean, I get it, people can be busy, I get it, people can't make it out all the time, but there's got to be some time where people could just be like, hey, we should just coordinate that, even if we all can't make it and they run it every Thursday, try and make it out to one run back a month, like, let's all just coordinate, we all want to play together. That doesn't happen. And even if it did, I'm pretty sure people would just dodge it anyways, be like, oh, this guy's going, I don't want to show up.
Yeah, well, the whole thing is not showing up or being a goober is endemic of SoCal, so we've gone over that multiple times, and I'd rather not have another show dedicated to everyone complaining about how, we live in a world of opportunity in SoCal, and nobody takes advantage of it. Much rather, I'd like to talk about people playing for fun. And you know who's having fun? That 13-year-old kid at the Tekken World Championships.
Oh my god.
I did not hear
That kid
about
was
this.
that kid was a beast.
He had turned 13 the day before the World Championships even hit. And he got 4th place out of 20 people that were invited through, a selection of people in the world via qualifiers. So that's really impressive.
That's pretty cool.
At least I would say it was impressive if he wasn't a gosh darn law player. No, I'm just kidding. But no, he did really well. I was astounded. He had a great reads on blocking low attacks and stuff like that. It was really, really amazing to watch the whole tournament.
For a kid, his decision making was super impressive. For people that don't know and they want to look it up, his name was AK, and as he mentioned, Walkman mentioned, this was international competition that was decided by qualifiers. So he's going up against people like the United States. We had Mr. Naps. Korea, you had JDCR, and then you have Book from Thailand. And he's holding his own, if not beating these players.
Yeah.
Because he got 4th. And you see the reads that he makes when he knows people are going to tag crash and he backdashes and hop kicks the recovery. I was like, this is impressive to me. I'm pretty sure I would lose to this kid without issue.
Yeah. And it's not like Tekken is just some game you can just pick up and button mash or anything.
Yeah, this isn't he definitely doesn't have a character where he hits C and suddenly it armors a move and, goes into a 100% combo.
Yeah, that was... Honestly, I bet from everyone, the play was pretty amazing. I really enjoyed the Tekken World Finals. Or Global Finals, I suppose.
Yeah, the only problem I had with the event is that it was on at 4 a.m. our time, or
I think I gave up once I saw Mr. Naps lose, and that was about 6 a.m. PDT, and I'm just like, I can't handle it anymore.
Yeah.
You got 5th place. I just want to see how far I could go. I don't have the spirit anymore, so I just went to bed.
I mean, I just wanted to watch it live, but I honestly couldn't stay up that late. But it was a really amazing tournament when I watched the archives the next day. Because that kid was really, really fucking impressive to be doing that well in a game that, honestly, it may be a bit more demanding than some of the other Child Prodigy's games.
As Ramik brings up that you guys shit on Wawa when he did good in KOF.
That's a different story.
Chris, could you not bring up any chat thing that has a kappa in it?
Chris, could you do the introduction and then add
saying,
nothing else?
It's true, is all I'm saying. I was just saying.
But there's reasons for that, and we've already explained those in the past. We don't need to worry about that now.
Oh no, that sounds kind of dodgy.
All right, thanks for helping us out, Chris.
Yeah, that's great, Chris. You're really contributing to the overall
Dynamics.
I'm trying to have a fair and moderate discussion.
No, you're not. You're just trying to stir the pot.
That's what you want to call it?
You're stupid. Moving on. This week also saw the release of BlazBlue Chrono Fantasma, and I got to play it for a couple hours, and it's really different. I've definitely played the older versions, and the pace of this game is, I would say personally, much improved. There isn't 2-hour hit stun on everything, so confirms are a little more demanding, but it does make the game flow a lot faster. As far as characters go, Jin seems really different. There's moves missing and things like that. Kelly, you played it with me. What did you think of Noelle being different?
I thought it was really weird that basically her optic barrels are totally different because they basically took one out and then adjusted the distance of the other two to so I went in, I was like, yeah, I'm an optic barrel into his face, and instead she pulls out a shotgun and shoots, and I don't know, I honestly didn't get enough time to really be able to form a solid opinion, but it was she felt really different.
Yeah,
a lot of her stuff was the same. I was trying different combos that I used to use, and they were exactly the same as they used to be. But then they sort of, it felt. I mean, did it feel to you they buffed her Ds?
Yeah. Well, they've always been good.
Yeah, but they've always been good. But they sort of well, they did that thing now where there's certain D moves that you can only use after you've already gone into her drive.
Yeah, there's the drive specific ones.
Yeah.
4D just seemed really ridiculous. I don't know if they changed it because I never personally played Noel, but that move seems to have gotten a bit better.
Yeah.
Because that just running into that thing, you just honestly feel like you hate your life.
Yeah.
They also took away you mentioned the optic barrel being different because she only has 2 ranges as opposed to 3 before, right?
Yeah.
And now she has that shotgun move, and then she doesn't have that OTG gunshot anymore. The one that was just the one hitter. Now it's only the mashable one.
Yeah.
So
Well, I mean, oh yeah, that's right. But I think this is really weird, but I don't remember. I need to go play it again, but I feel like they put that. So the mashable one used to be on A, I think, and the one shot was on B, but I feel like they just put it on B, even though now it's only the mashable one, but I don't remember. I'm fairly certain.
yeah, I definitely need to go back and play it more. Or actually, both of us, because we only got to play it with Steve and just mess around with practice mode for a little bit.
Yeah.
Definitely not enough time to form an opinion, but the game definitely does seem really changed, but it seems like for the better.
Everything from what I've seen, like I actually do enjoy the speed of everything looks, and it seems like there are a lot of options added to the game. I really enjoy that they took away the guard primer system. I felt that it was weird and awkward for the way the game was played. But definitely enjoying the whole spin meter to guard break because I like watching people online just get scrubbed out and it's hilarious.
Well, Kelly died.
Oh, whoops.
Yeah, it seems like a computer exploded.
I was
I
going
got
to. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, no, I got to play the game, like a couple matches at the run back this week because there was a tournament and there was a casual station that Mild Wallace set up. The last one I actually played was the original. I played the second version a few games and then stopped for the dumbest reason, which I explained last week. The game feels good. It feels different than it did before. I still wouldn't say it's Guilty Gear, which is good because it stands out. It's its own game, but it feels awkward to me. Like there's a lot of things that I have to get used to, like hit stun and hit recovery.
Luckily, this game has a lot of things that they implemented to make it really easy for people to pick it up and play. Like ever since CT, they did something really neat with the hit indicators when you block incorrectly. So if you go low, you get a certain exclamation point. Like if somebody goes low on you and you block incorrectly, you get a certain exclamation point. Same thing if you get hit by an overhead. And then I believe for throws, you got exclamation points everywhere that you can react to. So if you get hit by something repeatedly, it's your own fault.
Mm-hmm.
You should be able to learn. I always thought that's a really neat thing. There's, I think, I'm not gonna remember the exact frames because I'm probably just gonna butcher it. But you can hold down buttons, and it makes them active. It makes the input active for a window of time. So things that would be just frames or really tight links are way easier to do by just holding down the button.
It's kind of Guilty Gear-ish.
Chris, every time you say something like that,
you can do that. You can hold down a button and it's active for a while. You can do that with Kai's fucking stun bolt or hard dust stun bolt force break. Tell me you can't.
I don't know. I don't play Kai, and that might just be a Kai
Then
specific
take
thing.
my word for it and keep talking, brother.
Look, I'm writing this down, and as soon as Paul gets back, we're asking him. So moving on, like the rest of Blaze will probably be really easy to pick up for most people because they did a really good thing from the main menu just to begin with. You can tell they did something right. The first option you get in the main menu is training. And it's the tutorial and then the challenge mode and then some other crap. I can't remember what the third option was. But as soon as I saw that, I was like, this is brilliant. This is what everyone should be doing when you get a fighting game. It's like, hey, just immediately go into training mode. Start dicking around. We'll show you the ins and outs of the game and see who you like. That's really smart. And you have to wonder why so many other companies are not doing things like this. Also having button configure on the character select screen.
Always nice.
Like, how is this not something that's being implemented in other games?
Do they have the rematch screen after the round is over, though?
I don't think rematches exist anymore, dude.
Oh, man.
Like, that was the one negative. like the one negative I had.
Arc just doesn't believes in rematches. It's just like, dude, get the fuck off the stick.
Yeah.
No,
Get up.
I've been thinking about getting it. Like right now, the import barrier is probably what's keeping me from it. Because honestly, like, I mean, it's not really that worth really explaining, but like that's what's keeping me from it. But I have been interested in watching it. I've been watching a lot of videos from the arcade play from like Acho and other various arcades in Japan, and oh man, I saw this fucking Tao Kaka that was just ridiculous, dude. Just like steamrolled like 8 teams of 4 on his own. It was I need to play that character now, you know. But it was like it definitely made me feel as interested in it as CT did when it first came out. You know, like it felt like I was playing something different, or looking at something different at least. And then played CT for a while, and yeah. But I'm definitely gonna try it out. I'm also kind of liking the idea of Terumi. Definitely looking pretty strong.
Weeaboo alert!
What's wrong with that?
I think his idea is interesting though. How a lot of his stuff just takes meter. It kind of reminds me of like Thanos and stuff. Where he has more supers than he does regular moves. But at the same time, it's like, I hope you have meter because you have no good reversal without it, and so
just keep poking.
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of weird. I think it's an interesting concept. I'm not sure if it's the best executed, but
Hey, if you want to do damage, just play. Who's that new guy, Mizuchi or something?
Oh, Kagura?
Kagura, yeah, man. 4K off the fucking throws, man.
Oh,
that's the one concern I had with some of the DLC characters, is that they obviously weren't tested by the general public.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be weird to say. It's gonna be hard to say if Kagura's like normal throw into meterless like 4,000 B&B is gonna be just his thing. Like, oh, that's his unique thing. Like, just don't get gripped by him, right?
Mm-hmm.
Or if it's going to be indicative of a character that's like, yo, he just does ass trucks of damage for no reason.
Well, I mean, he's the BlazBlue guy, also. I'm okay with that.
Is Makoto still bad?
Yes,
she's not considered to be that great.
I think she's the one near the bottom.
See, that was like a character they really just like went like a little too far with like balancing out, because like she was really good when she first was introduced, and people were just like, "Fuck this character," and then she just kind of went. Nowhere.
She was really good because of an oversight in the game, though, because of the being able to input the command taunt and pretty much getting the neutral, so you can loop crazy combos.
You could kind of do that with Tao Kaka too, right? In CT.
Yeah, no, that wasn't. No, taunt loops was.
No, that was
CS1, I believe.
Yeah.
Because taunt loop was wacky because the hitting with the taunt upscaled the next hit.
Ah, okay.
So it basically delayed damage proration, if I remember correctly, until later into the combo. Like, there's always been wacky oversights in the series. How in the first one, was it new in the first one?
About what?
The laser sword girl, because they changed her every iteration.
Yeah, new.
Yeah, new. She didn't have hit stun, or she didn't have damage scaling until like 30 hits or something into a combo.
Sorry, I blue screen.
Oh, that's fine.
Oh shit.
No, it's cool. I told him you died.
Welcome back. We gotta get like a raffle going and getting you like a real computer or something.
Yeah, we need a raffle to get me RAM. I've downloaded as much as I could, dude. I need more.
But going back to the DLC character thing, I did see an early release combo for Kokonoi, a character who isn't even out yet, and her combos, she was getting easy 4, 5, 6K, like 6K 50 heat. And I was like, okay, this character's definitely gonna get toned down before it comes out, hopefully, because like just hitting with like the drill hammers and the rocket punches and all that is just, it was crazy. It was a couple of hits and just life was gone. Like no effort, it looked like.
Yeah, a lot of people are saying she doesn't have any. She's gonna end up being in the same boat as Terumi, where if she is cornered or pressured when, without meter, she's gonna be fucked.
Did she really use meter that much though?
That's the thing. That's how it's gonna end up being, whether or not they're, broken or not, is if they can survive in these sort of situations without meter.
I mean, even then, I think that she'd probably do better than Terumi because she could probably just obviously wait it out, and then when at a certain point, just create some distance, and then just use her stocking flare and all her little things to like just force people out, and then once it gets room, be able to do traps and then go in.
I did watch that run back with a guy was playing. I forget his name, but he was playing Terumi, and yeah, he built meter hella quick too. Like he never really was low on it.
Yeah, I think that's part of his drive.
Yeah, that's the entire character gimmick is that since he has more supers than he has like normal specials, he has ways to steal meter, or I think it's steals meter in like overdrive, or if he's just hitting you with his regular drive moves, he builds ass trucks a meter.
So it's kind of like Ragnar's blood sucking, except actually useful.
It's a little different.
I'd say he's more like a rush down Elizabeth to some extent. Like, he just needs meter for a lot of his moves.
Scary stuff.
Yeah, it'll be neat to see what happens to these characters. I'm actually really interested in seeing really good Kagura players, because if he ends up being stupid, I'd probably just play him, because it's big dude with a sword. I mean,
one of my favorite moves that's all he has is that he just puts his sword like parallel to someone and he just punches it into them.
like how sick is that?
He's like punching a wall at him, like just flatten him up against the big.
It's like hitting him with the Rob Van Dam, where like you hand them the steel chair.
Yeah, it was great when I saw it. I'm like, this character is so cool. Like, if I play this game, I'd definitely try him out. And he's only got 2 moves. He's got Flash Kick and Sonic Boom.
That's all you need, buddy.
Yep.
Still playing.
So that'll be neat.
And plenty of command normals.
Chris, you mentioned something. You watched the run back tournament that they had for BlazBlue, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that only had about 16 entrants for.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
For
if I remember right, it was capped at 16.
Oh.
Okay. So it was actually capped.
Yeah. Axis was there, but they're the ones who brought the game. They helped run the tournament, brought prizes, everything.
That's really neat. So they actually capped it though, so there was a potential to maybe go over 16.
Well, there was more than 16 people playing, that's for sure. So some people were just on the casual station, and once the tournament was over, people who didn't enter the tournament and didn't even play on the casual station started playing the game, trying to learn it. And some of the BlazBlue people were teaching them how to play.
Cool.
That's cool.
That's really neat. The one issue I had was, I think we've discussed this before, is week 1 tournaments.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's week 1, but like without even the week part. It's like the game literally like came out the night before.
It's day 1.
Yeah.
In another country.
Yeah.
It's always going to have a place somewhere. Somebody's always going to watch, like, hey, this new game came out, and we're going to get, like, some quote-unquote quality action out of it,
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think, it's really what people want to see when a game first comes out. If you want to see quality action from BlazBlue, you can just watch a bunch of fucking Acho videos.
Yeah.
Or Komatsu.
I mean, I really think it should have been, like, maybe, like we were saying earlier, like, it'd be cool if it was just week 1 casuals and just, show off certain things, see people grinding it out. I mean, I'm pretty sure Axis was on board too, obviously, like, but, maybe they could have had some insight, from what to do with certain characters. Would have been cool.
And at the same time, I feel like week 1 tournaments have that certain air about it that it does seem kind of casual, where it's just like everybody's kind of having a good time learning stuff, or not, perhaps. Maybe one guy was like, all about it. But
that's actually a pretty good point, because a lot of times when you see these week 1 tournaments, there's a really casual air about it, because everyone's just kind of like, man, we suck.
Doesn't it look fun though? Doesn't it look like
it does look. I'm not gonna lie. There was definitely a couple moments where I was like, man, I wish I could have gone to this and just like see how well I can BS my way with Jin. And just kind of figuring things out on the fly is always fun.
Yeah. But like.
The only thing I hope for is that they don't use this as like a gauge of interest, like that they're forced to kind of keep this consistency going on, because there's definitely people that can't always make it. And there was actually a meetup for BlazBlue players, but it was in Lancaster, which for most people in SoCal, that's you don't want to go there because Gibby lives there.
Yeah, I mean, who wants to go to Gibby Land?
But so is Fnatic.
Anyway, what I wanted to point out with that is that if they have this meetup, I honestly hope they keep up with more, because if they're just limiting themselves to playing at the run back, I honestly don't think that's the best course for growth. Like, just having casuals, which was something that was being done a lot for Persona when it was first released, because our buddy James Shea was still in the States, and just kind of invited people over to his place. That was actually something really positive for the scene, because just getting to play casually really helps people out.
I was wondering, did that keep BlazBlue a little bit alive in SoCal for a while? Because I know they were doing that around the time that Persona was also out.
Yeah, there's definitely been a scene for it. They have had tournaments for BlazBlue at a lot of the Revel Up events, which is I think it's bi-monthly. I honestly don't know the frequency at which they hold them, but it's an event that they have at Super Arcade, and it's all the anime games. So you have Persona, they run Gear, they've run Blaze, and then they do the Gundam game, like Extreme Versus.
Mm-hmm.
They do all that stuff. And they're coming back, actually. So if you're interested and you're going to be in the SoCal area, I believe the next Rebel Up is on November the 2nd, which is a Saturday. So that's coming up. If you're going to be around, go check that out. If you're actually interested in learning more about BlazBlue, since it's still pretty early, one personal channel that I check out a lot on YouTube is Jordal2012. He uploads a lot of the match videos from Japan, and he's actually uploading, as of late, a lot of the combo videos, both advanced, both showboaty, and like all the advanced showboaty videos, and then like the beginner ones that are actually really crucial for a lot of people. So just go on his channel. There's definitely something for everyone, depending on the character you want to learn there.
I'm looking at it right now.
Yeah, it's a good channel. And speaking of good channels, Gibby, you want to mention the KOF tutorial?
Oh shit.
Awesome segue.
Yeah. So a buddy of ours, Henry Choi, known most of you guys know him as Choi Sauce. He made a King of Fighters. I don't know if it's a beginner tutorial or what it's supposed to be. I don't even know what it's labeled. I honestly forgot. But it's
It's got a pretty long title.
I don't care for the name anymore. I'm just trying to find a good way to describe it, other than just bad.
I could say that it definitely wasn't great.
No, it's like I get what he was trying to do, but the tutorial is just it's not a good tutorial in general. It's just it doesn't teach the player anything. It doesn't help the player. In the end, it's just going to confuse most of the players.
Yeah, it's kind of all over the place. There isn't much information about how to do certain things or other such matters. It's kind of hard to follow everything that's being said, and a lot of like terminology isn't explained to some extent. It's definitely more confusing to watch that rather than to like, you know, just go play the games in-game tutorial or anything like that. You know, try and figure out things. Also, as a beginner tutorial, it doesn't really seem to focus on beginners. It goes into a lot more advanced things immediately, which already is, when you don't understand the fundamental core of the game, it gets a little odd.
Yeah, like he goes into alternate guard, which there's no reason a beginner should know alternate guard.
Yeah.
They have no reason learning it, looking it up for basic fundamentals and stuff like that. He also doesn't really explain the differences in jumps. He talks about them, but he doesn't explain what makes them so different.
Or the proper application of said jumps.
Yeah. Doesn't even go into normals at all.
Yeah, doesn't explain, you know, what normals generally do, or if there's, because, you know, like a lot of crouch Cs can generally be used as anti-airs, not for everyone. But even then, he didn't explain the concept of command normals or using them in certain points.
Yeah, but basically there's a lot of things that could have been done better, but I think the biggest issue we had was that we honestly don't understand what the scope of the video is supposed to be.
Yeah.
If it's supposed to be a beginner tutorial, there are topics that are far more advanced that should not be mentioned in such an early stage. If it's supposed to be a tutorial for the wackier nuances of KOF, like the way it treats input shortcuts, the way HD works, or, you know, gimmicky bypass things like that, then that's also a missed mark at that attempt. Honestly, it would seem like I would just scrap that entire thing and start over.
Yeah.
Because Henry is definitely very knowledgeable about the game, and if he wants to create a video series where he goes over some of the weirder things about KOF, because as far as a beginner tutorial goes, I don't think there's any need beyond the video that Dandy J released years ago.
Yeah, I mean, most King of Fighters fundamentals still apply to this game. Just, a lot of the game's core mechanics and the engine that it runs on hasn't changed much over the years. I mean, obviously they have a lot, but at its fundamental core, it's still the same, and a lot of information can be found by that. A lot of the other stuff that's in 13 that's different from older games really isn't too off base of a normal fighting gamer player's perspective, where you could totally realize what this stuff is meant for. And just looking up on other information, because obviously when trying to learn something, one source isn't necessarily the best, and trying to expand your horizon, you're going to get information from all different fundamental realms, like, wait, this combo works this way, and then you can infer certain information from other things just based on how a character plays. But yeah, as a beginner tutorial, I mean, the game's been out for what, 3 years now? Do we really need beginner tutorials at this point?
No, okay. This is the thing with that. You can always use a beginner tutorial because there's always someone new getting into the game or trying to get into the game. The problem is we've had at least 10 different beginner tutorials for the game, none of which accomplished what Dandy J's video did, and none of the other beginner tutorials are actually good for beginners. They don't really teach you how to play King of Fighters. They teach you how to do HD combos and abuse King of Fighters 13 system mechanics.
Well, I think that instead of... I mean, we see a lot of videos that are obviously not like beginner tutorial videos, but still have decent information, and I think what they should probably be labeling themselves as is like individual skill tutorial videos, not like, like we see those all the time on like Marvel, we see Marvel videos all the time on SRK front page of like different strategies and different tricks that are discovered by such and such player. And we see some KOF videos like that too, but a lot of them just kind of get tossed aside or like added to these like huge clumps of like video feed that honestly not everybody wants to sit through. Like if you can make a short 3-minute video about how something works, why don't you do that?
Like, and speak on that note, there's a channel that we've been pushing like for about a year now.
Yeah, maybe
we've been talking about it, and no one seems to. It's still like I've noticed he doesn't get views at all. Like it sucks. It's a channel called Guts CL. It's a Chilean player, and he's the guy who discovers a lot of the screwy little things in King of Fighters and puts it up. And one of the first times I remember seeing his channel was when he made the Andy Zanakin punish. Like he made a video on how to punish it with every single character in the game. And no one used it. Like seriously, I linked a bunch of people to the video. Nothing. We played the video here on the stream once. I don't know if we were on IPW at the time. No one seemed to get it. Yeah.
I guess we should try it again.
Yeah, no, there's no reason to.
They can watch it if they want it.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. And on top of that, don't show anyone else's content on IPW.
Obviously.
It's kind of a dick move. He goes into a lot of stuff that people don't know, and he explains how stuff works instead of just saying, "Oh, you can do this combo here because it does damage." No, he goes, "This is why you should do this combo. This is why you should go with this option. This is a good time to go into this because of this. And then when you go into this, here are all of your other options." And he's also got amazing execution. He does. If I remember right, he is the one who discovered the Benimaru Lightning Loop Infinite, the Yuri Ryoken Infinite, and a few others.
I would argue that before him, Payne's got it.
Payne's was different. Payne's wasn't the Infinite.
Yeah, his was the
Payne's was just a loop. Because Payne did a Tiger Knee. He didn't do the backdash one.
Okay.
Because if you Tiger Knee Benimaru's lightning loops, it drops after, I think, 10. I forget exactly how many, but I believe it's 10 reps.
But that's an interesting thing is that Guts actually goes out of his way to find things like that. And there's so many videos on his channel where there are the nuances of KOF explained and setups and combos, and then they're very well presented in that they're simple. He has a video on Joe that he uploaded recently about his DP being really good against safe jump setups that other characters can't get out of. He shows setups that work against King Surprise Rose Super, which is a 4-frame startup, and Joe's DP, which is 6-frame startup, actually beats the safe jump. And from that you infer that he gets up quicker. So that's something to keep note, because if you think you're going to do the same safe jump on Joe, you're not going to get away with it.
Right.
So the little nuances like that are really, really important for top level play. And beyond the top level play, there's a lot of videos that he has that are just kind of basic combos that some people overlook. There's one for Athena HD combos that he uploaded that's actually really good because he does them in sequence. He does a meterless variation, a metered variation, and then a stun combo. So whatever you need for the situation, he probably has you covered in that video. This is something that everyone can use. And it's a shame that he doesn't get as much as exposure, but if you are trying to learn KOF, I would check his channel out. Once again, it's Guts CL, so GUTTSCL, and just go check out his stuff. It's really great.
And please keep safe jumping on my Joe.
Yeah, see, Hellpock has learned something new.
I did not learn something new. I just held that one to my chest for a while. I figured people would
Hellpock has
figure it
learned
out.
something new.
Right.
Right.
But yeah,
Right.
definitely for mid to higher level information for King of Fighters, he has a lot of great stuff that's really optimal, or just things that work well in certain situations. That way, you don't have to worry about one particular setup, but you can realize you can convert from multiple different areas of the screen or from different moves. So that's really great. Man does not get enough credit.
Nope. Going back to the anime really quickly, there was an announcement that we forgot to mention. The good Dr. Faust announced for
yes.
Xrd.
Oh yeah, and looks like his entire moveset's intact.
Yep.
Obviously, he doesn't have any force breaks, but otherwise everything else looks pretty good.
I can't wait to see how he looks in this engine or this graphic style.
You see,
I think he'll be really cool because I really like his art.
his standing animation will cover the screen again.
And on top of Faust, they put up official art for Axel and Eno. Or was it Axel?
Yeah, it was actually.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Actually,
that's the last two that were announced.
I'm not too fond of Eno's art. Not sure about you guys.
Yeah, her face looks weird.
Yeah, that's my main issue. She looks kind of like a child to me.
I never particularly cared that much for Eno in the first place, but
What?
so she seems fine, I guess.
You better not let Kugi hear you talking like that.
What? I like biking way more. Speaking of which, when's biking coming out?
That's a
But-
good question.
Bacon.
Viking would be sick.
So obviously, this new information of an old character coming back kind of happened. What might seem awkward, but in reality, there's going to be a location test soon here. I think it's November 2nd through the 4th.
Wait,
It's going to be held. No, not here in America. It's going to be in, I think, 4 separate locations in Japan. So they're probably going to show off, a couple more characters before this, and we're going to probably see more of them at location tests while people are going to try them out. So while Faust has been showed off, I could assume there maybe be one more character. They seem to like to come out in pairs or some groups. Maybe not, but there'll definitely be some more footage out there that probably shouldn't be out there. But hey, we're all gonna watch it anyways.
Yep. Sideways camera view.
Yeah.
And speaking of new characters, Chris, you said there's a chance that some Overture characters could be in the game?
Right. They included some lore in the translation of today's announcement that pretty much told the prologue of Xrd, which takes place after Overture, which apparently, as news to me, is part of the Guilty Gear universe, despite a diagram I read 5 years ago. Anyway, it basically...
How could GeoCities have lied to you?
It was Famitsu, man. That's the source. The prologue tells a tale of Kai trying to bond a world of humans and gears into one, and includes such characters from Overture as Dr. Paradigm, Sin, and Valentine, apparently right at the end, which surprised me because I didn't play to the end of Overture, and I assumed they killed her. So she's apparently there, and I wouldn't be surprised if that is the quote-unquote kid they were talking about in the trailer for Xrd, if you saw the translation. So that's interesting. We might be seeing Overture characters finally in 2D fighting form in a Guilty Gear game. This, of course, also brings me back to the rumors that started popping up when that Pachinko game art started floating around the internet, and everybody was like, "Oh my God, we're seeing Izuna and freaking Paradigm and other characters in hand-drawn form, so maybe it could happen." So I'm excited. I would hope that they would really maximize the potential of this game to really include everything that they've done, because this is the time to do it. And some people are worried that Dizzy isn't gonna be in it because since it's after Overture, Disney is frozen in a ball of ice, and she can't move. But if I know ArcSys, they're not above using dead characters.
Or like making clones of the characters who look slightly different but play exactly the same.
This is Mizzy. Original idea. Please do not steal.
Yeah, exactly.
And my one hope, which I continue to hope for after years of anticipation, is that we finally get to see RoboJam.
Oh my god.
She's real, I swear to God.
I don't want to see
Mugen character.
Yeah, I don't want to see RoboJam.
RoboJam.
A filter over that voice can only be ear grating.
They probably can't do RoboJam without consulting that one dude that did the Mugen character for, licensing issues and be like his credits in the fucking game where it's like, yeah, special thanks to Akuma Boner Hitler X.
No, you could totally do it. I mean, it's just a parody of their character, so it's like, we can do
Nope,
whatever
it's
we
an
want.
original character, dude. It's probably completely copywritten.
Just
can't-
like Violent Ken was.
Ugh.
Violent Ken. Man, what a great idea.
Well, who cares? They won't do it anyways. Doesn't matter.
Well, if we can't have RoboJam, we obviously got to bring back RoboKai. But my question is, which version of RoboKai are they going to bring back? The goofy, fun-loving one, or the really serious one that was actually trying to kill Kai? Because both were actually pretty good in my opinion.
I say RoboKai Mark II, so that way I can give him all the best moves and win.
Give him Potemkin Buster.
Yeah. This seems like a good move to give a character. Let's do this.
Since I don't know, once again, I don't know the story to the games, but is RoboKai kind of like the Terminator where there's a bunch of them?
Yeah.
Or is it just one RoboKai?
At the end of one of Kai's storylines, I believe in Midnight Carnival, he did fight off an army of RoboKais.
Okay.
So technically you can have as many. They're pretty much kill clones.
Yeah, okay. That's what I was about to compare it to.
Yeah.
So all we need is Kai 4-9 and we'll be good?
Yeah.
Okay.
So hopefully. But everybody seems excited by that. Faust is a character favorite. What's weird is like when they did mention the Overture characters inside the prologue, people did get excited, but nobody really liked those characters to begin with. Like I never saw
is it that they didn't like those characters, or they just didn't like that game?
I don't know. I distinctly remember people thinking that they were not very fond of like the Overture character designs. Maybe years
Like think
ago.
about how many people will actually admit to have played Overture.
I tried.
Rodrigo would.
Well, he's got problems. But the ideas for characters are pretty neat. There's like a lizard librarian?
The idea was cool, but I think the execution was a little off.
What about a playable That Man?
Oh God.
Well, do you think they'll do that? I don't know. That seems like the one thing that they can hold on to the end of time, and then when like right before Daisuke dies, he's like, okay, I'll put him in.
I think that with the way Xrd is, it should just be like, shouldn't that man finally be? I mean, not necessarily playable, but shouldn't they close this story arc or something?
That is the story arc.
Yeah, I know.
There's nothing else to do after that.
Yeah, I'm sure they're gonna find something.
I mean,
That other man.
they could hold on. They could go with a Judgment.
Oh God. You know what? I agree. Let's just let Xrd end with that man. No more.
Turns out it was Leopoldon the entire time.
Darn.
My God.
Iska is now canon.
Yeah, why not? Everything else will be.
Right.
Pretty soon, we'll have Petite as well. And
Oh, the nurse.
Well, no,
girl?
if they petite, that'd be pretty cool. You'd get Fanny.
Yeah.
and then Dust Strikers and
Actually, how much you want to bet Fanny's playable in this version?
not much.
Well, what about that big dog from Isuka?
Yeah, that's Leopoldon.
Yeah, that's the
Oh, yeah. You know what I want to know? Has anybody been able to answer me this? What the hell is that thing in the back of Nirvana's stage? Because that's
It's
not
a gear.
Hydra. But, like, is it, like, story? There's never been any story behind it.
It's just, dude. There were gears. It was captured. It's just nailed down or something.
I don't know. It felt like it was weird that they took the time to, like, explain what Hydra was and then not that.
Listen,
Whatever.
you're a nerd. That's all I'm gonna tell
I'm
you.
just trying to get to the bottom of the story, guys. Jeez. Trying to not leave any stones unturned.
Well, you can get to the bottom of these nuts. Moving on.
Again.
So
Another character announcement, or not announcement, I should say, a release was Waxman's much-awaited Akatsuki in Under Night in Birth.
So he's finally out. He's back in Pog form. He's looking pretty good. I have a little bit of worries for him, but he's such a new character, and from everyone that I've seen playing him, obviously seems a little weak with him. But I definitely see where he could be strong. He has an overhead that pretty much flattens the person on the ground, and you can combo after it. In the corner, he has his air diving downward electricity punch that you can combo off of. His normals look a bit small, and he doesn't seem to be the fastest of characters. His fireballs are a bit slow in the startup and the recovery, but by chain shifting him, you can follow up behind him really effectively. It's mostly just like a control tool. But otherwise, he seems to be pretty good. I think that there's a lot of opportunities for him. He's definitely not Eltonum level of adding in another character in the game, because she's just really good. I didn't know that her gunshots would cancel each projectile per gunshot, so that really irked me a bit when I saw that, but that's perfectly fine.
Dude, I was telling you that to begin with, dude. She's just like half a bar for like full screen hella damage.
Yeah. But, I mean, honestly, I'm really glad to see him in the game. He looks really good, really true to his original design. I'm curious, though, as to what he can get off of a good reflector. Like, if he just, like, jumps in and reflects on someone, I wonder if he could just start combos from there. Since, you know, there is shield in the game, but it can only be done on the ground, and you have to be blocking. But reflector is just command parry, jump in the air, you know, or go forward and just destroy whatever's coming at you, and then just go through it. So hopefully we'll be seeing, you know, a lot more comfortable Akatsuki players out there getting more skilled as time goes on, and just tearing people apart and playing on even playing field.
There was actually a neat thing that I observed. I don't know if his reflector works differently, because it doesn't do anything canned in the Akatsuki series, right?
What did you say that again?
It doesn't do like a canned follow-up on successful reflect?
No, you can keep doing it.
Because there's a couple times that I saw that the Akatsuki players would land a reflector, there was always a normal that would come out that you don't see him do at any other time.
Was it
So I
a
don't know if
normal, or did it look like a little hopping kick, or what?
No, he just does like this straight punch that isn't his jab and isn't any of his other normals.
Oh, so you think it might be something like it works as a bunker attack or something to that effect?
Yeah, it seems weird. Like, I haven't seen that many people go for reflectors, and when they do, that move always seems to come out, unless it's.
It might just be like a automatic guard thrust then. I don't know.
Or it might just be his alpha counter, and maybe the animation looks really similar to him landing a reflector. So that might be it. But I don't know if you noticed this, but does it look like his throw does more damage than everybody else's?
It does seem to do quite a bit. I think other people's throws do maybe around like 1600, like 1500, around that area. His seems to do a little bit over that, like maybe into like the 1700 to potentially 1800 range. But yeah, he definitely seems pretty cool. I really like the fact that when he gets you in the corner, he can combo off of his downward electricity punch and all that. So I feel that he has short normals, but I see a lot of people using his light kick Tatsu, kind of like, you know, you would see in other games where he uses it just to get some frame advantage but still get close to you. I think he'll be able to close the gap efficiently in the game, and then once he gets you to the corner, you got to really worry about his mix-up game, because he can tear you apart.
Yeah, there you go. You just saw him do the overhead chop. That started a combo, and he definitely has really good lows.
Yeah. I like the fact, too, that he can combo from his sweep, too, much like in the other game, where, like, if they're in the air, you can just sweep them and then just keep going. Relaunch them. Yeah, like
he's actually a really good transplant of Akatsuki from his game of origin.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to be fair, like, while the games are somewhat different, the way the system mechanics and the button system works totally fits well. I really want to just see what people can figure out with this character, because it seems as time goes on from the latest patch, people are getting, you know, more optimal, more damage, you know, more effective. I want to see practical use of his DP, if it's even any good in this game. It was okay in Akatsuki Blitzkampf. You know, is it going to be a good anti-air or whatever? But yeah, you just chain people, launch them in the air, sweep, relaunch them, follow up. It's pretty cool. I'm excited. I want the game to come out, please.
Man, I want to play it now.
Yeah.
Also, I wanted you to click on that video with the orange on it. You always wonder what those are, and you never... like, they always come up.
Oh, no, not this, dude. I know what that is. Ugh.
Yep.
Yeah. Hopefully, if, the rumors are true, they'll be getting other third-party characters, and hopefully we could get like a whole bunch of them. Like
It'll be
Yetagras.
like the super crossover game.
Yeah, like you have all your main people, and then one person from each of the other, independently developed fighting games. Maybe if we're lucky, we can get one of the Yomi characters, from Sterling Games in there. Don't you want to see people like Geiger or God? What's that girl's name?
Do you actually know the character names for Yomi?
Oh yeah, there's Jaina and fucking
What?
Jaina.
It's just Jaina. That's the girl character. It's not Gina. It's Jaina.
It's Jaina, so I assume it's
So
Jaina.
it's Jaina. That's
There's Midori. He's a grappler that turns to a dragon. And there's Rook. He's a big stone guy with super armor. God, I think I only know half the cast right now.
and you call yourself a true Sterling fan.
Damn.
But like, what's cool about Under Night though is like they're doing something that like a lot of other people seem either afraid to do or not willing to do because of money issues. I guess like, you kind of see a lot of people wanting to see a good giant crossover game, but it never really happens, especially amongst like Japanese IPs. So the fact that with the next possible update from these guys, we could get like a Skullgirls character or maybe a Yatagarasu character, which is great, and then. If it's popular, maybe somebody else with a lot more money might want to do something similar.
Maybe
we can get Fulgore in the game.
Don't yeah.
This is the future you've all chose.
But actually, you mentioned Sterling Games? You know what would be great?
What?
Like in all seriousness, we could get Chess 2.
Guys, green light it. Go on Steam. Tell Gabe Newell. Chess 2 on Steam.
The game that you thought couldn't be balanced was balanced.
I definitely thought that it was balanced before until Sterling told me otherwise.
For anyone that doesn't know what we're talking about, go check out just Google Chess 2 and prepare your faces for stun.
I love that, he took away the, if you're playing on white side, you get like, cross-ups on black in the corner. Black side can't get that.
Wow.
Just,
You got player 2 side advantages.
Yeah, dude, just how imagine how perfect you have to be to balance chess. Like you have to be the king of balance. Like I think Sterling himself, by himself, could balance the federal budget.
Sterling 2018.
I'm gonna nerf federal spending.
Just fair and balanced, just underlined 1 billion times. And it has a picture of HDR Akuma. American flag on his back.
You want to know what the greatest thing about Yomi is, though? Is that it's balanced by imbalance, and there are definitely tiers, and the main character is definitely way better because he has the legitimate Yomi ability where you just take a card from your opponent and look at it, and you already know what it is.
Wait, that's an ability?
Yeah, that's the ability the main character in that game has. Just like, pay a card if they do this, and you're able to look at like your opponent's hand. And it's like, wow, that's... What?
Does your opponent have to say, yo, sick read, bro?
No. It's Yomi is the Japanese word for reading the hand of your opponent. Just
the hand? Not the behind the hand.
Yeah, just looking at the hand.
Shit.
Could we have a show where we actually play chess too? Because I downloaded the PDF when it was free.
Look, I love playing chess. I still don't know much about chess 2 outside of what you guys keep talking about it, so I'll go into it without knowing anything and play.
So here's a really quick crash course on chess 2. So you know how regular chess is played. You have your pieces that all do the respective things, right?
Mm-hmm.
Pawns only move the one space. Knights move in the L shape. All things like that. There are different types of. Basically, you choose a character instead of picking a side. Instead of picking black or white, you pick black or white, and you pick a type. So there's one that's called just basic chess, where you just play traditional chess, or your opponent could be the zoo, where all the pieces have different like abilities. Like the bishop is now a tiger who can move diagonally, but instead of going to that spot where he goes, he springs, eats the piece, and goes back to where he was before. I think rooks are now elephants, and they're big, I guess. I don't know what those do.
They can charge
And there
over
was-
shit.
Yeah, there was one where I think one of them is all your units are pawns except you get 2 queens. Or something incredibly stupid like that.
Wow.
Or there's one definitely where the queen can teleport anywhere. We need to play this.
There's one where when you're playing, you have to bat off of a tee, but when you get to first base, you got to drink a beer.
I'm a fan of that.
There's definitely the checkers mode for, it's like the Psycho from
Oh,
Alpha
man.
3 where it's a
I
little
just-
harder, but you get different rewards.
The problem is that when you king yourself, you have to get multiple kings because once your king is taken, you lose. That's the balancing factor.
This is my question with chess 2. Are people actually playing the game?
I have no idea.
I'm gonna assume
I'm
no.
the champion, Gibby. Fuck you.
Oh,
How do you not know about Kelly's illustrious Chess 2 career?
She's all the rage in Russia.
Yeah.
She beat the IBM computer designed specifically to play Chess 2.
I think the
man.
computer was the first one to figure.
My
it out.
parents only gave birth to me so that I could play chess too.
Yeah, they were like, you know what? We're sick of Big Blue 2 giving all these human players the guff. We're going to birth a child genetically engineered to defeat it.
She's got a money match
Can't
with.
beat a robot.
Dude,
Let's
did you know?
just change the rules.
Match me in chess too.
She's got a money match with Akiboshi the second, man.
Yeah, it's gonna be crazy.
I can't wait. Like, that'll be the greatest match of all time and the greatest sport of all time. Chess 2.
I think that there should be a class in chess too where if you can eat all your pieces before your opponent.
What if you just throw up like all over your opponent's side of the board before they can do anything?
Then you lose because they overtake. You have no attacking abilities. You can only defend. If you got to eat all your pieces before you can attack.
Before you put him in a safe home.
Oh my god. There's so many possibilities with chess too. It's truly an amazing game.
Dude, just think of everything that we could do with Chess 2. Like, he could just keep balancing it because we all know that Serlin can make perfecter.
Yeah, I mean, what do you give a perfect chess character? You give the knight a fake fireball.
Exactly. It's like you just move your rook into the just move the rook right in front of their king and be like, ha, that wasn't my real rook.
Okay. We have other things to talk about, right?
I think so. There was
Is there
was something
anything
else-
more important than chess too?
That's true. To
Street
be
Fighter
fair.
4. Street
Oh
Fighter
my-
4 or something's happening with that, right?
Yeah,
Oh,
they
right.
they
The
announced
game-
they
the second
officially announced all the not all but some of the changes to the newest version of Street Fighter 4 coming out. So Red Focus has been officially confirmed. Dual Ultras has been officially confirmed, and removing the unblockables, which we're still not sure how that happened. Confirmed. So, guys, thoughts? What do you think?
There was a lot of uproar on Twitter about Red Focus and how it functions. I think a lot of people were upset that it can absorb multiple hits.
I
because
mean, I can kind of
characters
understand
like
it.
Bison.
I'm
There's a-
more upset by the concept of a red focus being not than what I thought it would be.
Well, you thought it was gonna be block and then focus, right?
Yeah, I thought it was gonna be like red parry. You
Yeah.
know, I mean that would make sense.
Yeah, like it would be like an alpha counter mechanic, which in my opinion is something the game sorely needs, but instead it was just, hey guys, it's a focus, it's red.
And the part that really broke my heart was that armor breaking moves will still break it.
So you still
Like-
feel like an idiot.
It's like I'm okay with getting thrown out of a red focus, but I'm just gonna Tatsu whenever. Yeah, take that red focus. You know, like
It would have been interesting to me if they made it so red focuses could absorb reversals, which we know all reversals in Street Fighter 4 are given armor breaking properties.
Right.
Like even moves that are not normally like, well, except for projectiles, moves that are not normally armor breakers will become armor breakers.
Mhm.
So it's like, wouldn't that have been a neat idea where it's like, oh, I'm gonna call this dude out. I know he's gonna wake up DP, and I'm gonna red focus absorb it and punish him for it.
Yeah.
Like you're spending a lot of meter, but would imagine you're gonna get a pretty huge payout for most characters. For
Right, and
something
it's
like
actually mimicking the idea behind focus, which is supposed to be parry anyway. Or at least as some people said. Anyway, like the whole offensive idea behind it on a wake-up Oki game, you know? The fact that they pretty much make it a extra hit of, auto guard is just like, did you really need that?
Well, it's not only an extra. It's
You
not
get-
just one hit.
You get two because you get the first two and then you get the actual one, right?
Well, no, there's the visual example they gave is that you could have absorbed almost any number of hits, because I think they show Makoto absorbing Ryu doing DP into super, which is 6 hits total.
Mhm.
I thought it was only 3. Holy shit. Never mind. That's really stupid.
Yeah, that's actually why a lot of people are concerned, because characters like Balrog or Dictator are very limited in how they do hits. Like they just do 1 or 2 hits. Like they just like low forward scissors, that does 3, or low strong rush punch, that does 2. That kind of screws them over, but it's also a huge investment. Honestly, I think the uproar is a little uncalled for, because we haven't seen it in actual play, and I don't have the biggest confidence in them, but maybe they did something really neat, and it'll really change how the game's played. The double ultras, however, that one's really weird to me.
Before we go to that, I just want to say, with the whole red focus, they're not changing people's focus attacks, are they? But it uses the same animation.
Yeah.
Seems like
So some people are just gonna have really bad focuses still, and other people are just gonna have good ones.
Well, you get more time to pick the one to actually let go of it or something, I guess.
I mean, some of them still just have no range.
That's
You
true.
know? Like
mean,
I'd
if-
much rather red focus probably with Makoto than I would with like Balrog, so to speak. You know?
I mean, yeah, that's true. But the other thing is, like, if we've got, like, if you're going to go with the whole infinite number of attacks, like, absorbed, it shouldn't be a manual thing. Like, a good example of this is in Guilty Gear with Potemkin's Judge Gauntlet Force Break, where, like, it's going to come out no matter what you do unless you, like, got a fucking 16 or 40 hit fucking attack coming in.
Mm-hmm.
But he can't choose when to let it go. It's just going to come out when the frame happens,
Yeah.
I feel like that's what the basis of red focus should be. Because if you're just sitting there waiting for the hole in his block string or his special move, there's no timing involved.
Yeah.
And the other concern is, how would you input red focus?
I think it's done with a light and 2 mediums.
You hit all the buttons.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Okay, it's got to be all the buttons.
You push any 3 buttons and dust.
It's the
and-
BlazBlue burst.
I don't know. It's like, I'm not a fan of red focus. It just kind of feels like, what do we have? What can we do to it? And it just feels kind of lazy, I guess, would be the best way to describe it. I
Is
don't know.
that something that people wanted?
I don't know. No,
It seemed like people were
I don't think
expecting
it was an issue.
Like yeah, I don't think it was an issue either. I kind of felt like they should have gone in reverse and maybe like thought about what they were going to do with focus attack animations, or at least the status of different characters' focuses that pretty much were rendered useless outside of, like, canceling shit.
And speaking of rendered useless, let's go to the 2 ultras. Honestly, I think that not many characters are going to use 2 ultras. Obviously, people like, Geef or T-Hawk will, but for the most part, aren't people just going to use 1 ultra anyways, and it's not going to matter?
Why don't they just give them 3 supers again?
Because super is a much more precious meter than ultra.
So get rid of the revenge meter.
But that's the whole thing about it. The
Isn't
comeback.
it, though?
I mean, it's called Ultra. It's
Yeah,
like, by
you
Ultra
see,
Street Fighter 4, we're getting rid of Ultras.
Dude,
It's
that would be
Ultra Edition.
genius. That would be so genius, man. It'd be like Ultra Street Fighter 4 now with no ultra meter.
Honestly, I would love it if you could just get rid of your Ultra meter for like 150 to 200% super meter.
There's a
But
game
that
you
would
can do
probably
something
be
like that,
way
right?
too good.
That's something. There's a game you can do that in, isn't there? Or like you can
Samurai
sacrifice
Showdown.
something. Yeah, you can sacrifice health for.
Yeah, 5 did that. 5 and above. It's the whole folk. I've brought this up multiple times. It's the enlightenment system where it's
Right.
like you either before you get to full rage, you can spend your meter by standing still and dumping it into enlightenment, which is the whole slow down time mode.
And you get like multiple supers in the time that allotted.
My main complaint with the double ultras is that when you take 2 ultras, your ultra damage is dropped pretty significantly.
It's like 60%, they said, right?
Like 66.7 or something like that. You know,
Oh,
like
wow.
a third of it's it's like a third of it's getting cut off, and I think that's whatever, because I think for the most part, people are just going to use 1 ultra anyways.
Exactly.
Unless there are certain characters. It's going to change practically nothing except for buffing, grapplers or people with bad options outside of ultra. I would prefer, honestly, if instead of doing reduced damage, it did 100% damage, but when you would do an ultra, it'd only take half your ultra meter, like at max, So it would still do less damage, but you would be able to do 2 ultras in a round without having to worry about when you're using it, as long as you have 50%. But I mean, that's just me.
Doesn't that actually give it a reason to max out your revenge meter finally?
Yeah. But I mean, I just feel like, unless first, like, because like people use different ultras seldomly unless it's like a specific matchup. And even then, when it's for a specific matchup, they're usually optimal or just what they're comfortable with. It's not really going to matter.
Right.
I mean, I guess characters like, Cammy or Fei Long could become a little bit scarier because they can throw out a counter every now and again. You don't know when it's coming. But
Or he could use that useless ass Ultra 1.
yeah, I mean, well, the Ultra 1's fine. The people use it for the damage and all that, but then, are they going to be like, well, I'd rather have more damage than
Yeah.
threat of something else?
Yeah, there's obviously some characters whose ultras, like their secondary ultras, are just crap. Like, how many people are going to pick, like, you know what, I really want to play Boxer and have that really shitty stun command grab?
I love it. It's like, what, 8-frame startup, jumpable on, like,
On
even if
visual reaction?
like, you could, like, wait for, like, half a second and think, be like, should I jump this? Okay, I think I'm going to go for it.
Yeah.
I kind of wonder if they did this because, like, Gen gets, like, what, 4 Ultras? 3 or something? Gets multiple Ultras.
He gets 2 for each Ultra that he has.
Right.
But isn't Gen Ultra 2 just bad? I mean,
Yeah, because his Ultra 2s are...
white damage and dive kick.
Yeah, because it's the 100-hand thing that he does with the... Before it used to be the poison counter in the Alpha series where it ticked down, and then if it got to 0 and you didn't hit Gen before the timer expired, you were instantly dizzied. But instead of doing that, it just does white damage.
Yeah, like, what?
So Gen has to hit them. This doesn't become a game of like Gen being in control of the match because they suddenly have to have an answer for his defense.
That's what I mean.
Yeah.
It just seems weird that they would make that option and then just kind of like not really. I guess the option's never bad. You can always just play it like you always did and it be exactly the same and nothing's changed. And then certain characters who do benefit from 2 Ultras would be buffed, I guess. Geef would have some options as anti-air maybe.
Yeah, like, that's fine. Like, it's cool for those characters, but even then, it's like, most people just have bad Ultras. Like,
Yeah.
like Orochi Breaker for Honda. That used to be somewhat decent. You had to be really close, but, you grabbed someone. Now it's just like, Ultra 1 kind of sucks. Ultra 2 is awful.
What if they're doing it for Hugo
I don't know.
or all the
Well,
other
it'll be interesting to see if they actually do take the time to balance out the characters' crappier ultras. Because if what's the Dirty Bull, I think is the Balrog Ultra 2.
Yeah.
Like if that gets buffed, if that becomes instant, that's really good because it's massive stun damage instantly. Like
Yeah.
you don't use that ultra for the damage. So if you have both, you now have the threat of moderate damage from Ultra 1 and the threat of instantly stunning them from Ultra 2. That would really make that character way more dynamic in my opinion.
Yeah.
Same thing if they do it to Honda. Like if suddenly Ultra 2 is back to being instant, like if you can't jump it after the flash, then it gets good again. The threat of the Mike Ross classic of hands, Fadak, Rochi throw is now replaced with Ultra 2, and that's even scarier. But it's still in development, and they actually want a lot of people to give them feedback because, like Gibby mentioned earlier, they said that the unblockables are out of the game. But the way that it was expressed in the video made it sound as if they did it on a case-by-case basis because Combo Fiend asked everyone to bring their best setups and try to do them. That doesn't speak to me that they fixed the underlying problem with the unblockables as opposed to just tweaking every character individually.
Yeah. Well, maybe at the same time, playing devil's advocate, maybe they just meant try them. They're not there. But at the same time, it does kind of have like that Fallout contingency plan of like, I hope we got them all. Like,
Yeah. I think maybe they thought that if they handled it on a case-by-case basis, they wouldn't have to overhaul the game so much that it would change it at a basic level.
Yeah.
Not that that's a bad thing, but
Well, it's not. It'd be better if they did that, but it would take them forever, and it would cost them a ton of money.
and I don't think they have the time nor money. Well, we have to remember Capcom's in financial dire straits right now.
Well, maybe it's because they spent all their money into fixing this product.
Yeah, maybe that's why. Like we've overhauled the game so that we get the quality out for all of you.
Yeah, maybe there's like astronomical NASA levels of money dumped into Ultra to make it the greatest fighting game experience this side of the Mississippi.
I'm gonna murder you.
Here's the thing, though: are they going to make an arcade release again?
I think
I wouldn't see why not. I mean, in Japan, they're not going to be playing it on console.
Right.
Yeah.
Which means there's probably going to be another update if they do it like they did last time.
Yeah.
And so it begins again.
This
That's
would
actually,
theoretically be the most expensive fighting game to come out for the arcades. Just
What?
in general, like all the updates for Street Fighter 4.
No, I agree. They really buried a lot of their budget into it.
Sucks for the arcade operators.
Yeah, because the machines were a huge purchase initially, and God knows if this is going to be a new cabinet or if it's just going to be a system update like they did with some of the other revisions.
It's going to be a system update. There's since with the Taito Type X, you can actually just put in a new USB dongle and it updates everything.
Oh, sick. Dongle.
Dongle. So that's cool.
No,
but
yeah,
that doesn't mean that they... Oh, go ahead.
The only other thing it could be is if it's a massive overhaul, it'll be a completely new hard drive. Which the game is. All Taito Type X games are on hard drives.
Mm-hmm.
So they just swap out the hard drive and boom.
I mean,
But is it going to be a $2,000 hard drive?
Yeah, that's the issue. Last time, I think the update for AE was 5,000, if I remember right.
Holy shit. I mean, it's not like they can't use the money, right? So why wouldn't they do it?
Because they're probably going to... Well, I mean, they're going to have people pay for it. Anyways, didn't they say there's going to be some new announcements probably coming up soon? Stuff
Yeah,
that
there might be
everybody
more
knows about.
system changes, and who knows with the location test if they, alter red focus or finally announce what the 5th character is.
I think I got some insider information. They got David Serlin working on Ultra Street Fighter 4, bringing the balance directly to you. So, expect, Honda being able to fly through fireballs and there to be fake ones. And
Not only flying through them, canceling them. They just explode on his head.
He's going to finally balance Akuma, okay, guys?
Yeah,
he's going to do it.
That's not his pet character, dude. He's gonna fix Fei Long, make him better. He's gonna be Fei Longer.
Just make sure you don't fade longer than 4 hours.
Yeah.
Is there anything else about Ultra Street Fighter 4 we should mention?
It's coming out sometime in the future?
Next
So
year?
be on the lookout in the future.
It'll probably be at a tournament near you. Yeah, that's about it. For
They
Street
actually did
Fighter.
mention, I think in passing, that it's supposed to be sometime in April next year, so it'll be a while.
Oh, that's interesting.
Hopefully they spend that time to, actually balance the game out to the best of their ability.
Mm-hmm.
And hopefully they do tests across the world instead of just at certain areas.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I know that a lot of places don't even get looked at because they're not America or Japan, so
Yeah.
or just Japan.
Yeah.
I was gonna say something else, but I can't remember now.
You got 5 seconds, Tony.
What's this thing about
You're
a
under
Chaos
pressure.
versus Justin money match at SCR?
I wanted to go into that, but there haven't been that many more details delivered. It's via gauging interest at the moment, and if you're actually really interested in that and you like watching high-level Marvel 2, go bug Via on Twitter. Let them know that you would really want to see a money match or a funny match between Chaos, who has been a dominant force, as you saw recently at the MVC2 tournament they had at Super Arcade, and Justin Wong, who was probably the dominating force in MVC2 in years prior. Or is he still?
Just make sure that when you try and gauge interest of VIA, make sure to end every tweet with hashtag RTSD, just so he really knows.
He knows where to find them. Just be sure to do that.
That's the anti-kappa.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just rush it all down. Just
rush everything down. Just going to get some milk?
Yeah.
Rush that shit down. So I think we're good here, and I think a lot of people were complaining that I took Paul's sign-off last time.
They were? Really?
Yeah, dude, people weren't happy that I said good night and good luck. Because even though I helped Paul come up with it, because it's one of my favorite movies, and I'm a really big fan of Edward R. Murrow as a person, I'm not allowed to use it anymore. So I'm going to thank all of you for watching. Chris, shut the hell up. Join us next week when Chris isn't here anymore. And as always, good night and fuck off.